Stephanie, and welcome to Fiction Files. This is the playlist where I talk about all things writing, and today I'm doing another character study, this time on Bella Swan from the Twilight Saga. So, I have a confession to make. I was a fan of Twilight when it first came out. I liked Twilight. I did not like New Moon, and I liked Eclipse because we finally got some real vampire action. But I despised Breaking Dawn. Read that climax and tell me it's not the most boring and nothing climax ever written. Even the screenwriters working on the screenplay adaptation knew it needed a fight scene, even if they pulled the stupid, it was all a dream twist. And in a way, it was easy to like the earlier books, because Bella was a blank protagonist. Supposedly she was written to be blank, but I actually don't buy that. I'm in the camp that thinks she's a self-insert for her author, Stephanie Meyer. In some regards, that could be a good thing, as it should make the character more realistic. But this is fantasy, and here it hinders the character. Bella is a classic example of a Mary Sue self-insert. She is this perfect projection. Except she's not perfect, because when we actually look at Bella as a character, she is a brat. She is a badly written protagonist. So let's break down why she's a badly written protagonist and what we as writers can learn from her. She's a passive protagonist. Everything happens around her or to her. She's not the one impacting the plot. The plot impacts her. She doesn't figure out that Edward's a vampire. Jacob tells her. And she immediately believes it. Boring! She hears the story of the third wife and how she distracted the vampires from killing the tribe. And when push comes to shove, Bella grabs a rock, but then waffles about whether she should cut herself, but never actually makes the sacrifice. Edward has to take charge and fix the situation. Boo! When she finally gets her wish and becomes one of the undead, she goes into it knowing she's going to be a bloodthirsty monster, and instead of moving far, far away from her father, whom she supposedly loves, and oh, don't worry, we'll get to it, as well as innocent townspeople, she just expects Edward, Emmett, and Jasper to stop her from killing after she's turned. She won't do anything to stop herself, mind you. That responsibility belongs to the Cullen men. Her daughter is rapidly aging and no one knows what to expect. She can't do research or go find others like her daughter. She has to stay home and do fashion shoots with her, watch Carlisle measure her, put her in her crib, and go bang Edward all night. Research? Don't know her. The other family members have to leave and do the hard work in figuring out what could happen to Renesmee. Bella never shows agency. She doesn't even try. In chapter 26 of Breaking Dawn, it is written, "As a human, I'd never been the best at anything. I was okay at dealing with Renee, but probably lots of people could have done better. Phil seemed to be holding his own. I was a good student, but never the top of the class. Obviously, I could be counted out of anything athletic. Not artistic or musical, no particular talents to brag of. Nobody ever gave away a trophy for reading books. After 18 years of mediocrity, I was pretty used to being average. I realize now that I'd long ago given up any aspirations of shining at anything. I just did the best with what I had, never quite fitting into my world. No particular talents and mediocrity. Now, some people do have natural talents or inclinations toward things, but most of us have to work at it. We have to practice. We have to improve our skills and learn and put in some effort. It reads like because she couldn't master anything right away and be celebrated and adored for it, she didn't bother trying. She is useless. She wants everything, but won't lift a finger to get it for herself. That's not admirable. That is not a character arc. What do we know about Bella? She reads and likes Edward and hates everything else. The hating things aspect can be done well and even can be funny, a la April Ludgate. But April does like things, like animals, Andy, and grows to embrace responsibility and duty and wanting to make Pawnee a better place. What are Bella's goals? What does she want? What does she love about life? As far as I can tell, nothing. And that makes for a boring, unrelatable protagonist. For someone who claims to be self-sacrificing and mature, she really isn't. A truly mature, self-sacrificing person would be willing to realize that she and Edward should not be together. She should be willing to give up the love of her life for the betterment of those around her. Or choose to live with him as a human, knowing that she will die in the end. But she is not going to give up vampirism. She's selfish and demands that others give her what she wants. She at one point even thinks of telling the Cullens to kill a few people so they'll be stronger in the fight against Victoria. It's no one Bella knows, so it's fine if they die to ensure that Edward and his family don't get destroyed. That is truly monstrous, and she is still human. We're told over and over and over and over again how great of a person Bella is, and that she's just so pure and good, and no lonely human can even compare to the greatness that is Bella Swan. Which leads me to my next point. She's a Mary Sue. Bella is the woman that One Direction sings about. She doesn't know she's beautiful, and that's what makes her beautiful. Barf. She is beautiful, but humble. Smart, but not annoyingly so. Strong, but not as strong as the men. Can't have that in this world. She has flaws, but they're not the ones we're told about. Because Meyer doesn't actually see Bella's real flaws as flaws. We're told that her flaw is that she's clumsy. But it's cute girl clumsy, as in she's like a baby giraffe that's just learning how to walk. I'm pretty sure Bella is clumsy because she's brain dead and actually should wear a helmet and have pillows strapped to her chest. This isn't a flaw. Her supposed flaws are being clumsy and hating blood, which surprisingly is never mentioned in books 2 and 3 and only seems to make a reappearance in book 4. Hey there, continuity. Missed you in the Twilight universe. Her flaws are actually that she's self-centered, manipulative, smug, spiteful, hypocritical, a chronic complainer, and entitled. She starts off Twilight complaining. Wah, I'm moving to Forks even though I chose this. Wah, I have to live with my stupid dad who's trying his best to connect with me. Wah, it rains. Wah, my dad bought me a truck that's old and is obviously going to suck. Shut up, Bella. As soon as she knows what Edward is, she demands to be just like him. It's not that she's just not like other girls. She's not like other humans. I mean, she's right. I don't claim her as one of my own species. But she knows that she deserves to become a vampire. Even when she becomes a vampire, she's upset that she didn't get a superpower. At least not one that was revealed right away. To quote Alex Day, "Why does nothing please you?" And then, when it is revealed what her power is, she masters it immediately. Fuck Kate, took her years to project her power. She's just not as special and talented and amazing and wonderful and godlike as Bella. Be better, Kate, you plebe. I think it's hilarious that we can now compare Midnight Sun against Twilight. And methinks Meyer did some retconning. Because in Edward's version, he can hear other people's thoughts, and hears Jessica saying some nasty things about Bella. But can you really blame her? He gets all huffy over it, and this only emphasizes his notion that Bella is good and sweet and pure. She's not. Because in her version, she can't be asked to remember Jessica's name and think snide thoughts about her as well. She even makes fun of Eric's acne and complains how overly helpful and nice these stupid people are. What a bitch! The nice, sweet, pure Bella only exists in Edward's and Meyer's heads. Meyer tells us Bella is nice, but she shows us the exact opposite in the text. As writers, if we want our characters to be good people, we have to show that they are good people. We can't just tell readers, Jane is nice, but then show readers Jane kicking a puppy. It doesn't add up. We have to show them taking action toward being a better person, toward growth and change. Like my first point, Bella is extremely passive. She needed to be an active participant in the plot. She needed to make things happen. She needed to figure things out. And she needed to save herself from time to time. But she refuses to do so because that would be like hard and stuff. She's in love with vampirism, not Edward. I mean, tell me, what does she actually like about him? He's hot, he's rich, and he's unattainable to other humans. Her winning him is there to simply reinforce the message that she's better than everyone else. She got the guy and immortality. Suck it, Jessica. But again, I ask, what does she actually love about Edward himself? I guess they are both smug, self-satisfied bitches, so they do have that in common. But we never see them make each other laugh. We see faux deep conversations about how no one has ever loved another person as much as they love each other, but never the reasons that they do love each other. She calls him selfless, and yeah, he's so not. If he really was selfless, he would have left her for her own good and left her human. To be fair, she doesn't even respect his wishes or boundaries either. Because at the end of the day, she's in love with what he represents and what being with him gets her. Immortality, beauty, the strength to crush those who annoy her, and money. She is in love with vampirism. Well, at least the sanitized version that we're given in Twilight. There are points in the story where she begs his family to turn her, even though she knows Edward is against it. She doesn't care, because she doesn't care about what he thinks. Because at its core, it seems she doesn't care about him. He is Princess Jasmine. He is a prize to be won. Her getting him in vampirism proves how special she really is. If you're writing an epic love story, readers need to buy into it. They need to want these characters to be together. They need to understand why they love each other. What's their chemistry like? What little inside jokes do they share? What sides of themselves do they reveal only to their love interest? What secrets do they entrust to the other? What do they have in common? What are their differences that will help the other grow? Speaking of people she loves, we're told in Twilight that she loves her mom. Sure, she thinks she's scatterbrained, but Renee is her best friend, and she loves her mom so much. But in the text, we're shown Bella's thoughts where she basically says her mom is too stupid to live, and thank God she has a big strong man to take care of her now in place of Bella. But as soon as she moves to Forks, she forgets about dear old mom. She's an infant. Out of sight, out of mind. Her mom has to hound Bella to make sure she's okay, and then Bella is so annoyed with her mom. Which would be fine as she is a teenager. But Meyer made sure to beat us over the head with how mature Bella is and what an old soul she has. Then show me that. Show me how she calls, texts, or emails her mom to stay in contact and provide Renee with peace of mind. You can't have it both ways, Meyer. Bella can't be a bratty teen, but also so wise beyond her years that a 100-year-old vampire sees his equal in her. God, there's just so much wrong with these characters. Her bratty, immature attitude extends into her relationship with Charlie. He's providing her with a home, food, a vehicle, and love, and all she can do is bitch about what a wet blanket he is and how he cannot tell her what to do and actively disobeys him. She hurts him every chance she gets by knowing she wants to become a vampire and say a permanent goodbye to him. She says to hell with Charlie, as long as she becomes beautiful, rich, and stays forever young. He can rot in hell for all she cares. Until it comes time to say goodbye. And once more, no one will dare tell Bella what she can or cannot do. She will keep him in her life, even if it puts him in danger of her thinking he smells good and drinking him, or the Volturi finding out, which then they would kill him. And why? For what? She avoided him at all costs and made fun of him, both behind his back and directly to his face, when she was a human. But suddenly he's the most important person in the world when she turns? She can't leave Charlie. What will he do without his beloved daughter? He's probably just wondering why his spell didn't work to kill her, not knowing that she actually is undead now. As writers, we need to be consistent in characterization and motivations. We cannot have protagonists that suddenly act out of character, all so the plot can happen. Readers will pick up on that and wonder what the hell is going on. This is especially illustrated when Bella becomes pregnant. The first 3 books, Bella is a weak, stupid human. Humans are pathetic. She will only be amazing when she becomes a vampire. Even the werewolves are pathetic compared to vampires. Nothing is as good or strong as a vampire, and everyone might as well give up if it comes to a human versus vampire battle. But her half-human, half-baby vampire sucking the life out of her? No problem. She's obviously strong enough to survive this. Why is everyone telling her this is a bad thing? She will have this baby and then transform. Why is anyone worried? Don't they have faith in how strong and sure Bella is? Stop. Changing a character to fit a plot is not great writing. The plot should be shaped by the main character, or antagonist or side characters. Changing a character simply so the plot can happen or to build tension or start a conflict is not the way to go. Also, I have to say as a quick aside, the whole pregnancy plot was dumb. And just another thing that adds to my belief that this is self-insert fiction. Bella never talked about having babies. Knew Edward was dead and probably assumed he can't have kids. She knows Rosalie wanted a baby, even if Rosalie's reasons for wanting a baby weren't that great on their own, but she did want a family. She regrets not being able to be surrounded by her and Emmett's children and grandchildren. Bella, don't give a fuck. Here, Rosalie, watch as I get to have everything you wanted. Raise my daughter as if she were your own, but all the while knowing my daughter loves me the most simply because I'm her birth mother. I'll let others hold her, feed her, change her, and practically raise her, but she is an extension of me and will always love me most. The themes of motherhood, especially in how Bella does it in Breaking Dawn, is kind of sickening. Bella is better than all the other women in this because she both got a child and vampirism, while Esme and Rosalie were sterilized, so they can never have children. Bella gets to rub it in their faces and lord it over them. And she does, and I hate it. Her story has no meaning. Lastly, I have to touch on some unpleasant themes that exist in these books that are shown through Bella's lack of character arc. The only changes that really happen to Bella are getting married, popping out a kid, and becoming a bloodsucker. Bella becomes worse as a character as the books progress, but it wasn't intentional. This wasn't written as a villain's origin story or a negative character arc. Meyer believes we should aspire to be like Bella and the other Cullens, even though we're slow, idiotic, weak humans. Her story is about finding someone she supposedly loves and telling everyone else in her life to go straight to hell and leave her alone. Her value as a person is tied to beauty and wealth. Not the goodness of her character, not what she does for society or others, but being pretty, young, and rich. Which, not to derail this even further, but the rich aspect got more and more ridiculous as the books went on, did it not? We knew the Cullens were wealthy in Twilight, but then they have private islands, those fancy black credit cards, which I'm curious how they get them having no social security number or credit history, and apparently enough cash on hand to rival a small country's GDP or economic value. Come on, that's ridiculous. Worst of all, Bella is fine abandoning her humanity and becoming a monster, knowing full well what she's becoming. She's not like the others who didn't know until after they were bitten and had no choice in the matter. She walks into this expecting to be dangerous, violent, uncontrollable, and hungry. Where can she sign up? It's one thing to have a character wake up realizing they're a monster and do everything they can to suppress it and hold onto their humanity because it's the right thing to do. But Bella wants to destroy her soul. She wants to have people be in awe of her because she's so much more powerful and superior to them. They should be so lucky to lick her boots. There's no redemption in her story because it was written that becoming the monster is a good thing. Becoming a wild, enraged, soulless creature is better than being human and being humane. It's a pretty twisted theme. As writers, we need to have a general idea of what themes our stories convey. How do they inspire the human race? How do those themes introduce us to aspects of humanity individual readers may not experience firsthand, but can learn and grow from while reading about it? Themes are important. We don't need to spell out our themes word for word and tell readers what they should take away from a story. But we want to make sure the themes resonate and remind us what it means to be human. I'm sure I could spend more time talking about Bella, but this is where I'll leave this episode. I do not believe Bella was intentionally written to be a bad protagonist. I do think Meyer thinks Bella is everything we're told, that she's good, which just emphasizes the point that showing is so much more important than telling when it comes to writing. What other lessons can we learn from bad protagonists like Bella Swan? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching Fiction Files.